Just Baseball show is presented by BetMGM. Use promo code JustBaseball, all caps, one word, at sign up and start betting with the king of sportsbooks. I want to talk about that doozy in Omaha between LSU and Florida, or between LSU and Wake Forest last night. That sets up LSU and Florida in the championship series starting this weekend. Also want to circle back on Gavin Williams' big league debut and what that could mean moving forward. Games of the weekend, obviously, and Shohei Ohtani's nuts. We got to talk about that. Jack McMullen, no Peter Apple, no Aram Layton. Managing editor at justbaseball.com, Ryan Finkelstein, coming out of the pen, throwing 102 with a ton of arm side run. Absolute gas. I told Aram to go do like the Ted Lasso stuff. He's in London for the London series. I was like, go see the pub or anything. I don't think he's seen Ted Lasso. Are you a Ted Lasso guy?
I'm not yet. It's been on my list forever. I also got to say, and maybe this is not the best place to start my appearance, but when you said we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani is nuts, I just heard we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani's nuts.
That's fine.
I'm happy to talk about either because I'm sure he has some big nuts the way he plays baseball.
I appreciate that energy. I appreciate it pre-noon and it's 9:20 in the morning. So I love that you brought that up right away. So yeah, we'll spend the first half hour of this show talking about Shohei Ohtani's nuts, and then the last 20 minutes about Shohei Ohtani being nuts. So
okay, that sounds great.
I wanted to talk about LSU Wake off the top, and it's not often that a big league show is going to lead with college baseball. We've done a lot of that conversation. I mean, we did the Omaha preview with Peter Flaherty last week, but the reason I want to bring this up is like everybody was attached to that game. For me, I call a game every night, right? I'm calling a game. It started at 7:05. There are things that I keep tabs on during games. Typically, it's the Pirates score. I'll do that. And then it's the big thing in sports. And the NBA draft was last night. The Pacers were picking 7th. I work for the Indianapolis Indians. So I'm keeping tabs on that. I personally am a huge NBA draft guy too. I was fascinated by pick 2. I didn't know if they were going to go Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson at 2. Ended up going Brandon Miller. I like that pick. But the other thing that I was keeping tabs on and like consistently updating on was LSU Wake Forest, because it was winner goes to the College World Series Championship Series against Florida. Scoreless until the bottom of the 11th, and Tommy White, nicknamed Tommy Tanks, hits a tank for RBIs 99 and 100 on the year in a college baseball season to win this game 2-0 in 11. I thought that was as good of a heavyweight fight as we've had in baseball this year. Notice I didn't say college baseball. In baseball, that was like game of the year, I think, regardless of level that we watched.
Well, it's games with stakes, right? We still haven't gotten games with stakes yet at the MLB level. I'm sure we'll get some great games in October, but I was watching the draft last night. I was not keyed into this, but I know that I was coming on the show we're going to talk about, so I just watched the full game highlights. The defense in this game was insane. Like, there was so many, and then the pitching matchup with Skeens and Louder, two guys that I guess are looking like top 10 prospects or top 10 draft picks this year. Like, man, it's got me to the point I'm like, I think I have to watch this final now between LSU and Florida, because that was some great baseball, and I'm actually upset with myself that I wasn't catching it live last night.
Dude, so that Trey Morgan play, that bunt where the first baseman Trey Morgan is coming in and he's shoveling, that was like the Jeter shovel to the plate. I mean, dude, in that moment in a 0-0 game against the number 1 team in America, like, that was utterly insane. I want to start with the pitching matchup here, and then I want to get to some big picture LSU things here. Skeens and Louder lived up to the hype, and we talk about it so often, and I talk about it with my broadcast partner in Indy so often. Like, a matchup can look excellent on paper. How does that game shake out?
Yeah,
that shook out exactly how everybody was expecting. Rhett Louder, 7 innings of 3-hit shutout ball on 88 pitches. Skeens, 8 innings of 2-hit shutout ball, 9 Ks and a walk. He threw 120 pitches again. Holy hell. This was a dude off if I've ever seen it. Thatcher Hurd, another transfer. That guy, he threw 3 innings out of the pen in replacement of Skeens. It was 3 innings of one hit shutout ball in 47 pitches. I mean, it was utterly incredible to see 2 guys build, one as the best pitching prospect since Steven Strasburg, the other viewed as a consensus top 10 pick as an arm in Rhett Lauder. And they both did not crumble under the brightest lights that college baseball has to offer. I mean, that viewership might have been better than what you see in the championship series between LSU and Florida. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be a heavyweight fight again between LSU and Florida. But dude, I mean, for those 2 guys, you know how hard this game is. You watch it every fucking night. You watch the Mets struggle every night at this point. Like, this game is impossible. And for those 2 arms to do what they did last night is impressive and only has to elevate their draft stock.
Looking in complete command, and that means Skeens. That dude is massive. Like, is this a guy that could be in the show like next year?
Yes. So that's the thing, man. Like, I made the crazy take, I want to say on Monday after Skeens' last weekend performance, that I don't see any glaring differences between Skeens and Hunter Green right now.
Yeah, that's a good comp. That's a good comp. Could a team draft him and put him out of the bullpen in like September this year? I mean, obviously that wouldn't happen, but still, it's pretty crazy just to see the makeup. Like, he looks unbelievable.
No,
unbelievable.
We were having this conversation with Walker Buehler too, and he was like, I guess the last guy to bypass the minor leagues entirely was Mike Leake. You know, there were some really weird circumstances for Garrett Crochet to do it. Crochet hopped into a big league bullpen without any minor league experience, but that was, 2020. Everything was kind of screwed up, and he was drafted as a starter in the first round. He's now a bullpen arm, all that stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, Skeens could be the closest one to do it. Like, I think there's a world where Paul Skeens is 2 starts in high A, 2 starts in double, 2 starts in triple, and he's there making his big league debut at the end of this year, which is nuts.
Crazy.
My last takeaway from this game, and then we'll jump back into big league stuff, is LSU has mastered the art of name, image, and likeness. And this is getting into a little bit more of the overarching college sports conversation. That's my winter job. I've been with, Ball State. I love working in college sports. I was calling college sports when I was at Syracuse. I'm fascinated by it. And LSU in this new frontier has not shied away from putting money out up front to get money in return. Think about the amount of Jell-O shots that have been bought at that bar in Omaha so far this year.
Yeah.
Like, Tommy White got a bag to come. Tommy White, the NC State transfer, Tommy tanks, again, 100 ribbies in his sophomore season with LSU, and he hits that walk-off 2-run tank. Thatcher Hurd threw 3 innings out of the pen. That's a UCLA transfer. Paul Skeens, an Air Force transfer. They're IDing guys in the portal. They're promising this opportunity to benefit from big program, always playing on national television. And there's probably some NIL money attached to that, and they're thriving. And I immediately draw the comparison to their women's basketball team, who just won the national championship. Angel Reese is taken off as a star in the college sports sphere. She was a Maryland transfer. What do they do after they win the national championship? They go and grab this girl, Haley Van Lith from Louisville, who's one of the better players in the country. NIL can really help, and they can turn those programs that generate slight revenue into programs that generate massive revenue. Obviously, they're not going to hold a candle to football or, men's basketball with the NCAA tournament. Like, that's a huge cash cow. College baseball, you have the opportunity to make a good bit of money or an excellent amount of money. Women's basketball, you have the opportunity to make a good bit of money or an excellent amount of money. And I think LSU has ID'd the 2 programs on campus that I think can turn into serious cash cows for them.
And they already have a couple in the other ones. Obviously, LSU football, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest cash cow you're going to get, in college football as well. So look, NIL changes everything. I mean, it's taking the stuff that was in the shadows and brings it out into the forefront. And I feel like it's just kind of, even in some ways, it can kind of widen a gap that was maybe already there when it comes to bringing in talent.
Yeah, 100%, man. All right, jump into big leagues here real quick. I think Florida's going to win the College World Series. I think their pitching lines up. Skeens threw 120 pitches again. If they get to game 3, it's probably Skeens and Caglione matching up, and I like Skeens in that one. But Sproat in game 1 and Hurston Waldrop in game 2. I mean, it's 1A and 1B, and Caglione is like the clear 3 in that Florida rotation. With Skeens, like, understandably so, there's a massive drop off between Skeens and everybody else in that LSU rotation. So I do like Florida to win it. That's my take. We'll chat on Monday about that. Jumping to the bigs, I want to talk about Wednesday night. Gavin Williams made his major league debut for the Guardians. Final line on Williams looks okay, like not good. 5 2/3, 4 hits, 4 earned, 4 Ks, 3 walks. He allowed a homer. This came in a 4-run third. Ryan Noda hit a 3-run homer. All 4 hits against Williams came in that third inning. So 2 scoreless frames off the top, and then an inning and 2/3 or 2 2/3 innings scoreless after the fact of that 4-run third. Williams, I thought, looked good. I watched that thing from start to finish. And I guess the immediate question for me was, okay, Williams looks like he's going to be a mainstay in the Guardians rotation. You know what you have with Bybee. You know what you have with Logan Allen. And this is a conversation that you have had on Who's Better Baseball. This might have cleared the runway for the Guardians to move off of Shane Bieber and get a great return.
Absolutely. And one thing before I move to that, I just saw this quote from Bo Naylor that I thought was so interesting. He says, obviously it was catching him, and he says, there's an inning when there's a decision to be made. This is referring to after that inning where he gave those runs. And it says, and that's either you submit to the pressure or you continue to compete. And I think we saw what Gavin is really made of. I mean, to come off of, your big league debut, you give up all those runs. That's an opportunity where you could end up, getting pulled after 4. And he showed why the Guardians could potentially change JB, because this is a guy that could stick, and it's the reason why he was their top prospect. Look, at this point, I feel like, especially viewing the landscape, it'd be malpractice not to trade Shane Bieber at this point. For one, you have a pitcher that, he's still a great starter. He's still going to eat up innings. He's still someone that a lot of teams will trade a lot for, but he's not Cy Young Shane Bieber. He's not quite the same. The stuff has ticked down a little bit, and you have so much depth in this spot to fill in way cheaper. And I mean, he's the top arm available. Unless you see, I don't know, Max Scherzer be awesome over the next month, and the Mets are selling, which I still don't think. What more high upside or Dylan Cease is available? There's not going to be a better arm up for grabs than Shane Bieber, and you can get a haul.
Dude, I'll tell you, at that price point and that age for Scherzer, I'm taking I'm taking Bieber in this cut over Scherzer in this cut. And Cease is an interesting conversation because I think they have identical service remaining. I think they have identical years of control remaining. I think it's 2.5, maybe 1.5. I'll check that next. But my thing about Bieber is, yes, he doesn't look like 2020 Cy Young Shane Bieber, but this guy with subdued stuff coming off of a shoulder issue in 21 has figured out a way to maximize what he's got now. And he's still a 2s ERA guy. He's never going to be a 3s because he's so good at pitching. I think this guy is one of the best pitchers in baseball, one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily the most arm talent in baseball, but this guy knows how to carve his way through 7. This is a massive one. You mentioned best pitcher on the market, by far, dude. The other names that are being floated right now are Marcus Stroman, Eduardo Rodriguez with an opt-out.
Yeah.
I want Bieber over both those guys in a heartbeat. And in a seller's market, you can get a massive return here. The McKenzie injury worries me a little bit. It's a UCL sprain, so it's not a tear, it's a sprain. But still, this is McKenzie, who worked his way back from an injury right before opening day, came back, looked good for a moment, but then went back on the shelf. You're relying on 3 really young guys to front that rotation. Cal Quantrill looks like he'll make a rehab start in AAA this week, but Williams, Bybee, Allen, now granted, they've all been fun to watch, and they've all shown flashes of good stuff. Like, how comfortable do you have abandoning, or how comfortable are you abandoning your frontline guy? I think the trade that makes sense for Bieber is you get big league bats in return. You get two of them. You get one guy that has established himself as a legitimate big league bat, and you grab a AAA guy that is knocking on the door of being in the big leagues. That's my thought there. What do you think a package for Bieber looks like?
I was going over this on Who's Better, like you said, and the one thing I did just look it up. He's got a year left after this year. Bieber does. Cease has 2 years.
Okay.
So I don't know. Cease would probably command more of a haul because of that, but I also don't think that the White Sox are moving him. I looked at the Orioles as a landing spot, and they have so many bats that are mashing in AAA that just can't find the booby roster right now. If you got a Westberg as kind of the headline in that type of a trade, a guy that, and it's one of those things I think with the Guardians where you are at this point where if you're going to make a run this year, like, yes, you can win this division because the division's bad, but if you're going to make a run, you need to catch lightning in the bottle anyway. So yes, you trade Bieber, your rotation gets a little bit thin. You're going to need all those young guys to be firing all cylinders anyway to make a real run in the second half. And if you add a Jordan Westberg and you put him in and you play him at shortstop with Andres Jimenez and, you relegate Rosario, like, all of a sudden, if Westberg's awesome in the second half, who knows what happens? And even if not, you get a middle infielder that's probably going to hit, that can play all over for you eventually, a piece that's really malleable that you'll have full control over moving forward. And you're going to get more pieces back in that trade. You might be able to get 2 AAA bats. You can see that's with the Orioles. Now, there's a million Shane Bieber teams that you can call on too. Like, could you send Shane Bieber to the Diamondbacks? That's a fun one. I don't know what you get back in that sense, but again, there's a lot of teams that could use a Shane Bieber where I just want to plug them on so many contenders and say, like, that's the third arm you guys needed to really contend this year.
So I'm totally with you. The Diamondbacks, for me, it's like, what are they offering that helps the Guardians now? Is it Alek Thomas or Jake McCarthy? Okay, like, one of those guys kind of helps, but I think I would prefer a Kjerstad or a Westberg over Alek Thomas or McCarthy at this point. And then you need guys that are a little bit farther off. Here's one for you. I love Baltimore. I think Baltimore is the perfect spot for him. Bieber to Baltimore for Westberg and Kjerstad. So you get a guy that is mashing through double and triple. Looks like he's ready to go in the big leagues in Kjerstad. That is a power corner outfield bat. You need more juice in this lineup. You're getting more juice. And you get a shortstop in Jordan Westberg. You get, middle infielder. Dude, like, it would be hard to say no to.
It's honestly, I want it to happen so bad because Bieber in Baltimore too is perfect. It's so perfect.
Especially with that fucking wall and left move back. I mean,
they could do exactly what the Mariners just did. They can trade for him, get him on a nice contract. There's your ace. There's the rock in your rotation you can build around. I love it so much. I hope it happens. I don't know if the Orioles are going to do it. Are they finally going to swing a trade?
They should. Like, there's so much traffic. Norfolk just won the International League first half by a country mile. Like, they are the best team by far in AAA at this point. If you're that good, like, trade from them, because obviously you're really good at the big league level too. So yeah. I don't know, man. I think that they have a lot of traffic. They can move from places of surplus, and we've talked about it. The surplus in the infield, move Westberg. I know you like him. I know you like Kjerstad a lot. Like, those are 2 places where you have a bunch of guys that can do a serviceable job. And if you can move one from each of those places of surplus to go and get an ace in baseball, I would go do it. That's my take.
A guy that can, cover 180 plus innings for you over the next, couple years. And if you extend them, next 5 years, you could have a guy that you in a rotation where I don't remember the last time. When's the last time the Orioles had a starter as good as Shane Bieber?
I'm not even going to say means that one year. Like, it's not recent.
I'm thinking like Mike Musina.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I was gonna say Mussina, but like I don't want to be a dick and go back that far if there's somebody
I'm
that,
sure
like
there's
Mussina.
one. I know Ubaldo Jimenez. I had a good year there, but still,
No,
it's
Ubaldo's good year was in Colorado.
was it? I
Yeah,
thought he had a good one in Baltimore.
yeah, he might have. I don't know.
Ubaldo's had one of the craziest careers.
Dude, Ubaldo's front half of, I want to say 2010, 2011 in Colorado when he was the All-Star game starter. I mean,
Okay,
it
so
was
so
insane.
Ubaldo had one in Cleveland. Not he was pretty terrible in Baltimore, but he had a
Okay,
he had a 3.3 ERA in Cleveland over 32 starts. I don't even remember him in Cleveland. That
I
was
don't,
in 2013.
dude,
No
that
recollection
feels
of
like a
that.
fever dream. No, there were a couple of guys that were like sneaky Baltimore Orioles at the end. And I was like, what the hell? Like I rub my eyes and I try to forget. Ubaldo Jimenez, Giovanni Gallardo, I think was a Baltimore Oriole at a certain point. Derek Lee was a Baltimore Oriole. I think Vlad Guerrero was a Baltimore Oriole. Like
Yeah,
it was so
yeah.
weird seeing a bunch of those guys in Orioles uniforms. But I don't like want to be an asshole and go back to Musina, but I might go back to Musina now. And Bieber coming off of an injury shortened 2021 in which it was a shoulder thing. Like it's not like it was a lower body thing. It was a shoulder. He threw 200 innings last year. That's durable as shit, man. So yeah, I think with the volatility that they have already seen from Grayson Rodriguez, they need to look at Shane Bieber and say, okay, we've got a bedrock here, much like how the Mariners looked at Luis Castillo. I thought that was a great point.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
Quick break to tell you about So Rare. It's changing the way that you can play fantasy baseball. It's like this blend of fantasy baseball and digital collectibles. Sign up, go to sorare.com, draft your initial team for free. You've got a certain budget, and you can spend that number of. Ben Bilotti, our YouTube king, gave me some shit. He was like, what are these gems? I want gems. But like, they look like diamonds. And one guy's like a 20 diamond player. One guy's a 6 diamond player. And you have, I want to say, like 120 diamonds that you can spend on 2 starting pitchers, reliever, 2 outfielders, a corner infielder, and a catcher. So draft your team for free. Join our Just Baseball League. Kick my ass. I am in the gutter right now. And have some fun, win some prizes. We're giving away Just Baseball merch every week. We're giving away MLB TV subscriptions as well. So Rare is. So it's a fun ass game, man. Are you in that league with us?
I am. I drafted my team. I don't think I'm doing too well either.
Yeah, that's okay. I like that's my thing. I want to prove to people like there's this
So you know
urge
ball.
in me to prove that I know ball. There's this urge to say, well, shit, people listen to me talk about baseball. I should probably show them that I know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I just read. Like that's it. I
I,
read and watch.
I'm just that horrible guy in your fantasy league that picks too many Mets players, man. I don't know what to tell you. And
Are
I'm
you?
that guy. I'm
Are you
that
the
guy,
Mets?
man.
Dude.
I know I'm that guy, and I'm openly that guy, and it doesn't work out for me, particularly this season.
Have you ever thought about growing up?
No, no, I have not. Look around me.
I know a lot of people are using the 20 gems immediately on Shohei Ohtani. Understandably so. And there was a really interesting point that I came across when I was doing game prep for the Indie Indian stuff. And I do this date in baseball history with my broadcast partner every 5th inning. And I'll go to Baseball Reference, the BR bullpen this day in baseball. And on June 21, I was scrolling all the way down to the bottom because I do kind of like looking at what, I guess recent events that I remember clearly are part of this day in baseball history. And, there was one at the beginning of the year, like, this date in 2021, Brian Hayes hits, a go-ahead homer, but doesn't touch first base and he's called out. Like I remember that vividly. But June 21, 2022, Shohei Ohtani has an 8 RBI game against the Kansas City Royals. Next day, June 22nd, 2022, on the heels of an 8 RBI game, Shohei Ohtani throws 8 shutout innings and punches out 13 against the Kansas City Royals in a win. And then I was thinking about what I was just watching on Wednesday night in the Freeway Series. And Ohtani went 7 innings, a 1-run ball, struck out 12 in his first start against the Dodgers. And Wayne Randazzo, who does an excellent job, he and Mark Gubisha, I know you know Wayne,
Wayne.
Yeah, that just clicked for me. Wayne Randazzo and Mark Gubicza is an excellent tandem in the Angels TV booth. And Ohtani punched out Freddie Freeman in the first inning. And Wayne says, and Major League Baseball's home run leader strikes out Freddie Freeman. And Mark Gubicza says, I can't get over that whenever you say that. And I was like, I can't get over that either. This cat is nuts. So we can talk about his nuts now if you want, but he is something that is never before seen in any sport. And I can't help but, like, I can't formulate a take on him. I don't want to formulate a take on him. It's just the best thing that I've ever watched in the history of sports viewing for me.
100%. This week, I did an episode on him for Who's Better on Shohei, and I did an article on him. And the article was titled, and the episode is titled, basically, is Shohei Ohtani now the best hitter in baseball? And now there's a big caveat. Aaron Judge is sitting on the IL with a toe injury, and I think you could say that Aaron Judge still owns that title. But really, the point of the article was to look at Ohtani's career, and I think the conversation to see the best player is long over. We know that there's no dispute Shohei Ohtani is the best player in baseball. Yeah. But when's he going to be the best hitter or the best pitcher? And when's he just going to be both, the best hitter and the best pitcher at the same time? And you look at his MVP season, he was much closer to being the best hitter than the best pitcher. You look at last year, he was maybe a top 5 pitcher in baseball, maybe a top 20, top 30 hitter.
Yeah.
This year, it's looking like a top hitter. But we all know that if Ohtani turns it on the way he did down the stretch last year, he can win a Cy Young. And at some point, whether it's this season, next season, or at some point in the next 5 years, there's going to be a year where he's going to be the undisputed best hitter in baseball and the best pitcher at the same time.
Yeah, that's so hard for me to wrap my head around, because I thought Aram made an excellent point. I'm not sure if he made it on the air or we were just talking off the air, but Aram pretty much said about two-way guys. You have to make your big league debut twice. You have to be major league ready twice. The burden is almost greater for those guys. And yes, there were guys that abandoned the two-way thing early. Mason Wynn. I think about Bubba Chandler in the Pirate system. I think about, Brendan McKay was the last guy to truly debut and do both. But Ohtani, not only is he major league caliber in both, that would be an accomplishment in its own right. He's best pitcher in baseball caliber, best hitter in baseball caliber, which is, absolutely fucking nuts. And each of those guys, I think each of them is a $30 million player.
Yeah. No, and there's a steady progression in both, right? Like, you see Ohtani this year, he's striking out now like a 21% clip. Like, his strikeouts are coming down. And there was a perfect at bat that I highlighted in the article against Zach Greinke, where Zach Greinke doesn't have the stuff he used to, but he's still got that computer brain, right?
Yeah, so he's got everything in there.
So he knows that the one pitch this year that Ohtani doesn't do well against, and it's still incredible, but comparatively, is changeups and off speed. His slug is at like 545 instead of like 660.
Baby. Yeah,
it's rough. So he's going early with changeups, and he's completely out of the zone trying to get a strike. First two pitches, Ohtani doesn't swing at. Okay, so in the past maybe he chases one, he doesn't. So now he's sitting 2-0. You get two more pitches just outside of the zone that Ohtani, I think he fouls off both, right? So now Greinke's got him 2-2. He throws a completely uncompetitive fifth pitch way outside of the zone that Ohtani easily takes. So now he's full count. So he's like, all right, I finally got to throw a pitch in the zone. But he's pitching at Kaufman. He's pitched at Kaufman for a lot of his career. He knows it's kind of hard to hit a 70-mile-per-hour curveball out. He throws it, dots it at the bottom of the zone, but it got a little bit inside, and Ohtani barrels it. And as soon as it leaves the bat, Greinke just nods, knows it's gone, dead center. And he hits it, 400 plus feet out at Kaufman, which is, again, really hard to do. It's the fact that he's going to get into those counts more and more where pitchers are trying to avoid him and they get him full with an empty base. And they're just like, all right, we'll try to throw him a strike. And anything in the zone, he's going to leave the yard. It's the feat of athleticism, the nuts on this guy.
Yeah.
It's insane, man. It is. You really have to just watch it and enjoy what we're getting to see.
we can open it to the contract thing again, but just staying on the field for a moment, the swing is like optimized in a way that very few swings are. The launch is there. The ferocity with like the swing itself is there. I mean, the early foot down, it's perfect. Everything he does is perfect. There's nothing that, screams, oh, it's mechanically flawed, but he gets away with it because he's an athletic freak. Yeah, he's an athletic freak. Yeah, he's huge, underratedly huge.
Yeah.
But everything is mechanically perfect. This guy is, and I think a lot of people know the story about Ohtani, how ridiculously disciplined this guy is. I mean, shit, they kind of turned it into like that MLB The Show intro when he was the cover athlete in 22. Is the chart that he made. Like, he actually made a chart saying, I want to be the best player ever. Here's what I got to do to be as good as I think I can be. He is so regimented. He's so meticulous. And that in turn has created the perfect cyborg of baseball. I just said it. I think he's a $30 million player in both. And I've been trying to rack my brain of how I would structure an approach to Shohei Ohtani if I was a general manager. Whether it's Perry Manassian in LA or somebody else. And the way I think I view it is 9 years at about 57 per. So 9 years. Let me pull up the calculator real quick. Do I not have it on my iPad?
Like 486? No.
523?
523?
9 years, 57 apiece. 57 times 9, 513. A 9-year, $513 million deal.
And I think he could even get more. I think he'd throw a 10th year on that easily and bump that to whatever, 570.
At 57, you think?
It's crazy, but it's possible. I mean, look, the thing too that I think is really interesting to watch is, last year he got up to like 28 starts. I think he's at 80 something innings. Like, there's every chance that he might. I can't remember. I think last year was like 160 innings.
Yeah.
There's any chance that he might get over like 180, 190 this year when innings pitched as well. So if you're getting that type of a workhorse in your rotation, like you said, $30 million each way, it wouldn't even shock me if he got 60 a season. Like, at this point, I don't think anything shocks me. I'm just going to be fascinated to see what the number is, because the bidding war is going to get insane.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be like, get the popcorn ready this off season. Dude, like, I don't know. I just put these numbers in my calculator and I'm dumbfounded by what we're looking at. But you make an excellent point. If the OPS leader in Major League Baseball is giving you 180 innings on the mound in this climate, in the year of our Lord 2023, I mean, that's a $70 million player at that point.
And you have the Giants, who have clean books to throw a crazy offer at him.
So
you have
that's
Steve Cohen in there too, who's, whether he goes to the Mets or not, he's going to drive the price.
He'll drive the price.
I'm not saying he's going to be with the Mets. I don't think he is. I just think that he's going to escalate that bid. I think that he probably wants to stay out west, but again, that's going to drive it more. The Angels, I don't know, man. It's crazy. The Dodgers kind of cleaned the books for this too.
Mm-hmm. Top 3 landing spots. Give me top 3 landing spots for him.
I would probably say Giants, Dodgers, Angels.
Giants, Dodgers, Angels. Okay, I'm going to replace the Dodgers with the Cubs. I'm going to go Giants, Angels, Cubs. Cubs don't have a lot of stuff on the books either. The Cubs were in the initial Ohtani sweepstakes. I think he would love living in Chicago. I would love having him 3 hours away from me right now, and that being, my home. But yeah, I think if I had to pick one, if I had to throw it at the dartboard, I'm shooting for San Francisco. I could absolutely see Ohtani as a San Francisco Giant.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, I like that fit too, in the sense that, like, if it goes to the Dodgers, that would suck. I mean, they got Betts, they got Freeman.
Freddie.
They don't need Shohei too. I think the Angels is just, it's a little boring in the sense that he's just returning, but he goes to the Giants and that changes everything for them. And we'll see if, also you have kind of a, Barry Bonds was a Giant, Shohei Ohtani's a Giant. I don't know. So that'd be a cool spot for sure.
We shall see. All right, games of the weekend to wrap. You like my Expos gear?
I do like it. I do like it.
We've got some great stuff coming up with Homage down the pipeline, but they have excellent, excellent merch. And this is soft as hell. Let me tell you that. So if you want to hold off and wait for, your Just Baseball Homage collab, go right ahead and do that. If you want to double down with the Just Baseball stuff after you make your initial Homage purchase, go get it. But Homage Apparel, the link is in the episode description. Go check that shit out, man. Games of the weekend. I want to start in Cincinnati, and I'm honestly going to make a game time decision. I might go to this game tonight. AJ Smith-Shawver and the Atlanta Braves against the red-hot Cincinnati Reds at Great American Ballpark at 6:40. It's Luke Weaver on the hill for Cincinnati against Smith-Shawver. Is this AJ Smith-Shawver's welcome to the big leagues moment and the Reds continue this insane run that they're on? Or is this when Cincinnati runs into the Brave buzzsaw?
We just had, I think that it could be both. It could be, a tough start for AJ there, and it could also be a game where the Braves win. They're the best home run hitting team in baseball. Jeez, struggle with that one. There's an article we just had by Joey Peterson, a great read, where you just look at what they've done this year, what they've done since 2021. The Braves playing in that ballpark, I expect a lot of fireworks. So I think the Braves maybe win the game, but I think it's a high-scoring one. And a quick question for you as a follow-up, because we just did a Who's Better episode on this today. I just want a gut reaction from you. Brighter future, Reds, D-backs.
Reds.
I think that's the conclusion we came to, but you can watch a whole episode on that one with me and Elijah.
Damn. Do you know how much I just looked, by the way, because I was thinking about it. Do you know how much it is to get a seat at Braves Reds tonight?
75.
Yes, $66 pre-taxes and fees. Man. $75 to go to Great American Ballpark. This is a new team. Stand up, Cincinnati. This is for you.
Clay said that he's gone to some games. The atmosphere has been incredible out there. So you should check it out, man.
That's so
splurge on that $66 ticket. You can afford it.
Yeah, we'll see. You might just watch it on TV with my VPN, my virtual private network that can put me in Quebec, and I can watch any game. All right, Seattle visits Baltimore. This is going to be a great weekend set. Logan Gilbert against Kyle Gibson on Friday. Who wins?
Seattle's got to get it going, right?
They have to.
I think Seattle needs to have a big weekend here. So we'll go with the better pitcher by far in that matchup. Although Gibson's had a nice year.
Yeah. Do you have Apple TV Plus?
I do not. No.
Well, you need it tonight. Mets Phillies in Philly. Kodai Senga against Taiwan Walker. The old revenge game for Taiwan.
I think I can get it. We'll find a trial in there. We'll find someone's email for a trial.
Good. What are you thinking? Mets Phillies. Who wins? Why?
Phillies.
Okay.
Because Mets.
Yeah, good answer. Last one on Friday. I've got Emmett Sheehan making his second start against JP France and the Houston Astros at 10-10 tonight. What do we got?
Houston seems to maybe be turning the corner a little bit.
Yep.
Hard to not pick Houston.
Got you. Okay. Jump into Saturday, 4:05 first pitch. Bryce Miller in Seattle against Dean Kramer in Baltimore.
Dean Kramer, man.
He's got a 4.5, but it's a 4.5.
He's got a 4.5. Baltimore wins it, but not because of Dean Kramer.
Okay. Slugfest, you think they're going to jump on Bryce Miller's fastball?
Yeah, and it goes to the bullpen early enough that they can hold on to it.
Got you. Okay. Cleveland, Milwaukee at 4:10. Freddie Peralta against Tanner Bybee. What's going on there?
Tanner Bybee. Especially against that Brewers team right now.
Yeah. Give me Bybee and the guards. Bobby Miller coming off of a tough start last time against San Francisco, taking on the Astros. Ronel Blanco is going to start the game for Houston. I mean, they are scraping the bottom of the barrel. Houston is with their starting pitchers at this point. But do the Astros offense jump on Bobby?
I don't know. Coming off a bad start, I think he's got the chops to turn it around quick.
I think so too.
We'll say the Dodgers.
The Pirates scored some runs yesterday. They haven't done much recently. Sunday at 1:40. How many runs do they score against Yuri Perez?
Oof.
0 or 1?
Exactly where I was at. That's literally my thought process. 0 or 1. I'll go 1.
Okay.
Connor Joe gets an RBI double.
Yeah. How about in London town with Aram Leighton there? Marcus Stroman against Jack Flaherty at 10 a.m. on Sunday.
I mean, that matchup, you would think it's Stroman, right?
I would think it's Stroman.
I mean, why wouldn't it be? Although I feel like he's due for a bad start. And if it would happen, it would be in London. It would be having to deal with all of that, the travel and everything. He's been pretty comfortable all season. He's killing it in Wrigley. Go pitch in a different country, completely different ballpark, deal with jet lag and all of that.
Yeah, I feel like that guy, he's probably optimized his like sleep. Like he's probably got this thermal thing going on where he's like, I don't get
hyperbolic chambers and all this different stuff. Yeah, now he had to be on a Southwest flight for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's on the charter. He's fine.
I know.
So yeah, give me Stroman in London town on Sunday morning. Scherzer and Wheeler at 1:35. That's fun.
Yeah. That's a great matchup. I'm hoping it's a rubber match game.
Yeah.
And Scherzer did pitch great the last time out. Went 8 innings, would have had a complete game if the Mets didn't, explode on the Astros in the top of the ninth there. So maybe Scherzer's got a chance there. I will say, since Wheeler's gone over to the Phillies, it's been kind of a mixed bag. It's either great against the Mets or they kind of knock him out a little bit early. They drive up the pitch count. So we'll see.
Got you. TBD for the Texas Rangers on Sunday in the Bronx. So I'm not going to ask you about a winner between the Rangers and Yankees. Garrett Cole will start against the Rangers on Sunday afternoon at 1:35. How many runs does Cole allow to the Texas Rangers?
3.
3 in 7 innings?
6.
6 innings. Okay. Still a quality start, but like really, kind of at the bottom of the quality start totem pole.
And then and maybe the Yankees got to like hold on with their bullpen, and it's pretty nerve-wracking.
Got you. All right, last one. Sunday Night Baseball. Hunter Brown and the Astros in LA against Tony Gonsolin, Cat Guy, and the LA Dodgers. Who wins? Why? Ryan Finkelstein.
I think the Astros win this series. So if I got Bobby Miller taking that second game there, I got to have the Astros with the last one.
Yep. So you got JP France hitting Emmett Sheehan on Friday. You've got Bobby Miller winning on Saturday, and then you've got Hunter Brown beating Gonsolin on Sunday. Interesting stuff, man. Just baseball show presented by BetMGM. Every link you need is in the episode description. Again, join our So Rare League and check out the sweet stuff at Homage. If you want to join me on the Expos grind, you can join me on the Expos grind. Ryan, appreciate you. Obviously have to plug everything that justbaseball.com has cooking. An excellent staff of writers that is pumping out quality shit day in and day out. And you and Leo Morgenstern have been the conductors of the best orchestra in baseball media.
Appreciate that for sure.
All right, guys, we will talk to you on Monday with our friend Walker Buehler.
Awesome.